analysis than 4 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. What a show we've got. Rob Veno right off the bat. He's going to look at NC State and Florida State, Charlotte and Milwaukee. Steve Seagrave making his second appearance. We're excited to have him. He's got a prop bet for us in NBA and NHL, and we're going to end the show with Dave Sharapan. Teddy Covers is my co-host. It's $2 Tuesdays. Rob Veno, how are you, my friend?
I am good today, Prez. Glad to be here with you guys. A little $2 Tuesday action. Talk a little basketball.
Teddy?
Sure, Rob. Of course you are. You have a $2 Tuesday Platinum Total Best Bet available right now at WagerTalk.com. You're up, 142.8 units of profit with your 4% best bets. That's a pretty good run over the last 16 months. You can get that again right now at WagerTalk.com. Only $2 for Rob's single best bet in college hoops tonight. Let's talk a total right off the bat. NC State, Florida State. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now. Seminoles, we'll call them 2.5-point home favorites. There is a prominent 3 out there at a leading indicator book, so this number could go up. Total sitting in the 151.5 range. What do you want to do with NC State and Florida State Tuesday night ACC college hoops?
Well, we want to look at the total here, Teddy, and got to take a look specifically at what these teams have done in the month of February, which generally is when conference season heats up and when things look a little different than what they looked in January, December, and November. And for these teams, if I just, put their February characteristics into a box here, I find that most of their results have come as pace-driven, high-scoring affairs. NC State, in particular, 5-1 against the total or in this month, gone over 5 times. All 5 have scored 151 or better. The average of those games, 159.2. So we're in range with NC State. Florida State, on the other side, abandoned the defensive side of the floor pretty much this month, giving up 74 or more in 6 of their 7 games in this month. Average allowance by Florida State's defense, 81.7 points per game. Again, over what we need here. FSU happens to be the fastest tempo team in the ACC, number 1 in that category, which fits right in as far as the matchup is concerned. Kevin Keats, NC State head coach, loves to play 94-foot basketball. And an additional source for points here when we're trying to play over is the free throw line. In this case, you have the 2 teams in the ACC that allow the highest free throw rates in the league. So you can be sure that we'll see a lot of trips to the free throw line if that statistical number means anything in this game. Florida State has a tendency to turn it over, which could lead to quick NC State points here. NC State does have a top turnover forcing defense. Florida State, I think, is in a bounce back mode, guys. Last game against Clemson, they shot 36.9% from the floor. It was their lowest total as far as field goal percentage in the ACC season. They've shot over 50%, or excuse me, over 49% in 5 of their last 7 before that. So it's a good shooting team in ACC play that shot poorly in their last game. I like the bounce back effect there. The way I see this, it's the first time around, right? So you don't have game film on either side to see how they're playing this year. First time around generally leads to more points. I think this thing probably lands in the 155 range rather than 151.5. So that's the way I'm playing it, up and over 151.5.
There we go, Rob.
So when you look at
sorry, Teddy.
When you look at Florida State's results, it's real clear. When they get to 70, the game goes over. When they don't get to 70, the game goes under. And it's been that way, I think, for the entirety of the season. It's been like that for FSU. Obviously, they're not playing a great defensive team tonight, but the games we've seen them go under, we've seen them struggle on the offensive end. And Florida State, to me, when I think about the Seminoles program, they're not a team that I always expect to be putting the biscuit in the basket. Does Florida State get there? All right, I'm comfortable with the NC State side, but can Florida State get to 70 plus, which I think is what's going to take to get this game up and over the total, or well into the 70s, I should say.
Yeah, Teddy, I think in my opinion that they're aided by the fact that it's a home floor. They're aided by the fact that it's the first time around. They're aided by the fact that the pace is going to be there. So when you play totals, obviously you want opportunity. I also think, like I said, lastly in that analysis, that they're aided by the fact that they shot so poorly, which has been uncharacteristic of them to shoot that poorly from the field. If they increase that 39, by 6%, get up to 45, 46, this game probably makes it over. The free throw line also, it's just a style matchup, right? Two teams that foul a ton. So I think we can get cheap points there. NC State's a pretty good free throw shooting team. I think Florida State cracks 70 at home here.
Rob Veno joining us, everyone. And as Teddy mentioned, he is the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk. He's absolutely rolling. Well, otherwise he wouldn't be the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Up 143 units of profits with his 4 and 5% plays. What is that noise in the background? Anyway, Teddy, we do have a couple of requests. Rob, I don't know if you know this, but yesterday I sang on air. We have a couple of requests today. They want Don't Stop Believing and the Final Countdown. I'm going to not sing today. But Rob, we found out yesterday that Teddy does not know the song Nessun Dorma. Do you?
No, I don't. I'm in Teddy's category there. I don't know the song.
And you're Italian.
And I'm Italian, yes. So that makes it worse, I guess.
Yes. Charlotte, Milwaukee. Go ahead.
Give me 5 notes, Prez. Let me see if I know that tune.
You want me to
one
sing?
of those deals,
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. That doesn't clear it up any.
Okay. Go ahead, Rob. Charlotte, Milwaukee.
Beautiful. All right. I'm glad I saw that. Charlotte, Milwaukee, NBA. We'll look at a total here. Obviously, guys, a lot of the national conversation has been taken up by the Milwaukee Bucks since Doc Rivers became head coach, especially the fact that they're trying to be better defensively, because that's why previous head coach got fired. The defense showed some signs of improvement before the break, but the 2 games since the break, they've really got what they've been looking for. Only allowed 107 to Minnesota on 43.9% shooting, only allowed 98 to the banged up Sixers. 37.1% shooting. That's more like what Milwaukee wants to see out of their defense. But while they receive a lot of attention, Charlotte, very quietly under the radar, is the number 5 defensive efficiency ranked team in the NBA over their last 10 games. They're number 1 over the last 6 games. That's the best defensive team efficiency-wise in the NBA over the last 6 games. It's the Charlotte Hornets. The 6-game span becomes a little more impressive when you look into it and see that they played Indiana, offensive power, Atlanta, offensive power, Utah, Golden State. They held those teams to 102, 99, 107, and 97. That's a pretty good accomplishment. It's done by ways of defense and by ways of slow tempo. Charlotte is also playing at the 26th slowest tempo in the NBA currently over the last 6 games. So they're kind of combining a little bit of defensive focus, a little bit of slow play, methodical, to keep teams lower scoring. Charlotte's final score totals in the 7 games since the trade deadline, when they got Grant Williams from Dallas, he seems to correlate to all of this. Those games have averaged 205 points. It includes a game against Milwaukee, the very first one out of the chute, where that game landed on 204. So we have seen money chomp away at the total here, 224.5 opener, all the way down to 220. Now, I think when I sent it into you guys, it was 220.5. There's probably still room to play this thing under. Both teams focused on that side of the floor. Charlotte, difficult time scoring points right now. Charlotte in a back-to-back situation, I think. It becomes really tough for Charlotte, a team that only got to 84 a few days ago against this Milwaukee team. So I'm going to play it that way. Figure it's going to be a slower type game. Figure it's going to be defensive oriented. Doc Rivers really praised his defense highly the last time they played Charlotte. So I think all things add up here to this game opening too high and maybe still being too high. We'll play it under 220.
So my numbers show the Bucks 11-1 to the under their last 12 games. Charlotte 5-1 to the under last 6. 6-1 to the under last 7 since that trade deadline that you talked about. Are these two teams, both of them, teams that we should be looking to continue to play under with? I understand they're playing tonight, so there's only one under met to be made. But are the Bucks an under team moving forward? Are the Hornets an under team moving forward? And these couple of trends that you can still make money with, not just for tonight, but moving forward.
Yeah, as long as they don't get adjusted too far down, Teddy. And right now, 220 seems to be a number that's still manageable. To your point, we both put a lot of stock into coaches' quotes that we find meaningful. And both of these head coaches talk about nothing but defense over the course of the last 10 days. And so you'd have to figure that that is the focus of these teams. So I think, yeah, there's probably still room to play these teams under. They do play again 2 nights from now. This is the first of a 2-game set. So we'll see where this one goes, and we'll see where the odds maker adjusts to for their next game. But right now, I would say, yes, keep playing these teams under.
Rob, thanks for joining us, man. We've promoted you. You're the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk. We love having you on. You have lost your Italian status, which is okay. So no more rhyming, no more pasta, and you have to give up one vowel. You just got to give away one vowel, Rob. One vowel, that's it.
I'll sing Vagabondo the next time I'm on to regain my Italian status.
Yeah, and one of the guys said, how old is Rob Veno's picture on the website? Not as old as mine. Rob Veno, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, guys.
Teddy, we got a big promotion going on at the Gold Sheet. It's really, basically you get the Gold Sheet Lite free today. You can visit wt.buzz/TGS, the Gold Sheet, and take a look at the product. It's exceptional. We got an incredible team at the Gold Sheet, just talented writers, talented leadership. This is the oldest sports betting publication in the world. Started in the early 50s. That's 1950s. We've revamped it. We've redone it. It is an exceptional product, and it takes 1 second to download it, and it is free today. So please check that out. Teddy, before we get into what did bettors learn, Sports Avenger, who's with us every day, he writes, "Dang it, Prez, you're not the only one who likes to see Teddy miserable. It's really one of the joys of my life. I say this in all seriousness. Teddy's face when he gets annoyed, I mean, Teddy, there's just not many things better. I do enjoy bothering my mother more than you, but you are my second favorite person to make miserable."
I have no response to that whatsoever.
What did bettors learn last night?
I guess I'm still here. That being said, let's talk about what we learned last night. And I've been doing MLB prep. There's more articles about the pants than anything else right now. The new uniforms in baseball. And of course, if you haven't seen the headlines, the pants aren't right. There's see-through pants. There are pants that don't fit. And I think it's kind of funny. You know, all kinds of issues. There's lack of communication. There's poor fitting. There's wrong materials. One apparel company pointing a finger at another, at their subcontractors. Not much we can bet on there. Just funny stories. That being said, late February/early March. All right. College hoops, the last 2 weeks of the regular season. I get a handful of plays, but this is not a balls to the wall time of the year for college hoops. You get a little bit of a breather, in a sense, before conference tournament play, because most of the games on the board I'm throwing out. You know, that's the truth of it the last 2 weeks of the regular season. A handful of teams I'm looking to bet on, a handful of teams I'm looking to bet against. Most of the card is not something that I'm delving into quite as deeply. NBA, obviously, you're working every day, but we work 2 sports generally. We work 3 sports a lot of times. And this stretch right here It's where I like to do as much of my MLB prep as possible. All the background noise is on full display. The little nuances in roster construction that can give you those bettable tips later in the season. Remember, every beat writer needs content every day in spring training, especially when it starts. And there isn't that much to write about, so you're going to find interesting articles and lots of nuance that you can use later on. MLB prep helps you a lot when it comes to hot start teams. Who has the potential to sustain? Who's primed to come back to earth in a hurry? Remember the Pirates last year as a team that, they're not going to stay hot, and they didn't. Arizona started hot, and they did. The roster capabilities were on full display if you did your work early. Helps you with cold start teams. The Tigers started cold last year, played 500 baseball the rest of the way. They made their backers money. The White Sox, they were a cluster, They're from opening day. Fade City. The preseason prep can help you with all of this stuff, recognizing what's real and what isn't. So a little bit of baseball work now pays dividends. You don't want to be doing this stuff in the middle of March Madness. You don't be cramming the weekend before opening day. Right here, a little baseball prep work is something that I like to do in late February. I encourage you to do the same. Lawrence, that's what I like.
Teddy, listen, obviously the Chicago White Sox are going to be a heavy dog in many of their games. You think we can bet against this team from start to finish and make money?
You don't make money with bottom feeder teams in MLB. You don't make money with bottom feeder teams in college basketball. You don't make money with bottom, but especially when we talk about money line sports, if you're confident a team's going to lose 100 games, and I think the White Sox are the type of team that's likely to lose 100 games this year, there's no way to make money with that team. You find places to fade them, and then
that's what I'm saying.
Or you just ride the fade.
If you fade them from start to finish,
Chicago.
If you fade them start to finish.
So one of the things I don't want to do now in February is say this is what this team's going to look like in September. This is a strategy. The strategy is start fading the White Sox until proven otherwise.
Right.
Certainly.
And that's sort of where I'm at as well. And I've started to do some baseball work myself. Okay. Steve Seagrave joining us. Excited to have you, Steve. I think this is your second time on WagerTalk Today. I know you do some great work with Andy on Twitter. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad to be here.
Let's get straight into the first game. Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. You've got a prop bet for us. So 2 questions. 1, what is that prop bet? And 2, are you like Andy, a majority prop better?
Yeah, I do tend to bet more props and team totals than sides and totals. So yeah, I am more of a prop better. And this prop is Fred VanVleet under 25.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. He's fallen short of this total in 7 of his last 9 games. And he's landed on 23 and 26 in 2 games against Oklahoma City so far this season. The Thunder have been dynamite against opposing point guards. They've held them to the fewest points and the fewest assists over the last 30 days, as well as the 3rd fewest rebounds. We just saw a game where he had 26 against them, but the line was at 26.5 at one point, so you could have crept under in that one as well. And we also have the potential for a blowout here with Oklahoma City at home, favored by 10.5. They've already had 3 double-digit wins since coming out of the All-Star break. And that's really where I've turned my season around here. Is I was struggling in January, towards the end of January, early February, but I've really turned it around, focusing on betting player prop unders in particular. I do overs on team totals and things like that, but the player prop unders in the NBA with the blowout potential, the potential for an injury to take a player or limit a player in a game, and I was getting bid a lot just on the hook with a player not playing in the 4th quarter because of a blowout. So give me the under here on VanVleet.
So VanVleet's assists stand out to me a lot. You're talking about PRA here that we're betting under with Steve Seagrave, but this is a guy that in December he averaged 7.9 assists per game. In January it was 8.1. Here in February, obviously he missed some time with injury. There was the All-Star break, but he hasn't had more than 6 assists in any game. He's only averaging 4 assists per game. And in my mind, that's where the biggest concern is for this particular prop, because if he's dishing and guys are hitting shots for Houston tonight, that could be a problem area for this Van Vliet under. Do you worry at all about him getting it via assists this evening against an OKC team that, yes, they're extraordinary on the offensive end of the court, but they tend to play some shootouts every now and again, don't they?
Yeah, they do play some high-scoring games, but when I have a PRA under bet, I'll welcome the assists. I obviously we don't want him to go crazy with 13 or 14 assists, but if he has 6, 7, 8 assists tonight, I'd be fine with that. He's limiting possessions. That's just taking possessions away from him from a scoring standpoint, and that's what I fear more is in these PRA bets is a player going over with the scoring more than anything else.
Steve, let's talk about your $2 play over at Sportsmemo. Basically, at Sportsmemo, we offer 2 handicappers for $3. Steve Seagrave is one of them. He's got a 5% NBA play up for tonight, and Tim Michael as well, a 5% max play. You can get both of those plays for only $3, plus Rob Veno as well as $2 at WagerTalk. Please take advantage of that. Now, Steve, before we get into your next game, which is a prop bet on Buffalo and Florida, you write a lot of player prop articles. How often do you write them? Where can people see and read them?
Oh, yeah. So I've been writing player prop articles for WagerTalk News, as well as I've been doing work with the Gold Sheet, writing game previews over there.
Nice.
So you can find them at the Gold Sheet. I'm actually working on MLB. You guys were talking MLB. I'm working on MLB stuff as we speak, and I'll be releasing some award articles coming soon, and then I'll be releasing the team win totals, division winners, and stuff like that as we go through the first couple weeks of March.
Excellent stuff. Okay, so let's get into your hockey prop bet. It is on the Buffalo and Florida game. After that, we've got Teddy's big game breakdown and Dave Sharapan still coming up. Steve, Tage Thompson over 3.5 shots on goal plus 114. Not the season he would have envisioned coming in, but I'm guessing and I'm thinking he's going to start putting some numbers on the board. Why are we going with this prop?
Well, he's really turned it around recently, especially from a shot on goal standpoint. He's cleared this total in his last 6 games, 7 of his last 9. He's getting to 5 in most of these games. That includes a game against the Florida Panthers where he had 5 against them earlier this month in February. Now, Florida does allow the second fewest shots on goal per game, but it's almost to the point where Thompson's matchup proof. In his last game, he faced Carolina, the number 1 team with shots allowed on goal, and he managed to get 5 in that one as well. On top of that, here we have Florida as heavy favorites, negative 200 or more favorite on the money line, and then on top of it, we have a total as high as you're going to see in hockey at 6.5. So we're going to see Thompson firing away here. I'm assuming in a game where he's going to have to keep up and with the opposition, and on top of that, plus money at plus 114. This is a play that I've been riding for about 4 or 5 games now, and he's really been profitable.
There we go, Steve Seagrave, everyone. Check him out at Sportsmemo. He's one of the $3 handicappers. Steve, really, really appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us, my friend. We will have you on again. Best of luck with your bets.
Thanks,
Teddy
guys.
covers. I got 1 episode left of Drive to Survive Formula One Season 6. I really, really, really love this show. If you guys haven't checked it out, please do. Last we spoke, you were watching Alexander Making of a God. Did you finish it or did you just shelve it?
No, I finished it. And I was, the one of the things that made me laugh the most about that particular was a show. And I made it through there were 6 episodes, Prez, but it was fine. It was entertaining. But you coming on here and talking about what a great man Alexander the Great was and all this. He's like a pompous 20-year-old kid who's like, oh, I want to take over countries. And he's in position to do so. I didn't come away with a positive opinion about Alexander the Great, having watched his greatness.
So, Teddy, in today's age, we want to amass wealth. We look at people like Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and some of these other guys as sort of the greatest of our era. in amassing wealth. Back in that time period, everyone was like that. And whoever conquered the most amount of land, whether it was Cyrus the Great or Genghis Khan or Alexander or Mehmed or whoever it was, that's what they did at that time. And nobody conquered more land with less resources than Alexander. And he did it prior to the birth of Christ. That's how long ago it was. We define great differently today. I do respect that a killing machine would not be considered great today, but in that time period, he was the frickin' Mac Daddy. Let's go to your big game breakdown, brother.
Let's. Big game breakdown time. College hoops, Mountain West style. This one, late night West Coast action on FS1. Let's talk Nevada and Colorado State right now. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing the Rams minus 7.5, total 140.5, 141 in that range. We have seen money for Colorado State. This line opened as low as 5.5 last night. Now, certainly Colorado State hasn't lost a home game in Mountain West play yet. They did lose at home to St. Mary's early in the season, but the Rams just 1-3 straight up their last 4 games. They lost at UNLV, New Mexico, San Diego State. Nevada, all they've been doing all year, winning road games. They won at Washington, their first road game of the year. They haven't stopped winning road games since. At Hawaii, at Fresno, at Utah State, at UNLV. Beat San Jose State by 21 in San Jose this past weekend. And of course, they beat Colorado State pretty good in that first meeting between these two teams. How'd they do it? Real easy. They were able to get the ball into the paint. They were 25 of 44 inside the arc, 57% in that ballgame. And there's no reason to think they won't be able to do that tonight. Colorado State, one of the Mountain West's smallest team, the big man, Patrick Carter, he's 6'8", 220. He's not an elite post defender. Nevada pretty much dominated him in that first game. He had 2 points, 2 turnovers, 1 rebound, 1 of 5 from the floor, and fouled out. I would not be surprised if the Wolfpack have similar success in the low post tonight. Colorado State's got great guard play. Like Isaiah Stevens is a stud at the point. But Nevada they did it in the first meeting. They took the ball out of his hands and made him into pretty pass heavy, not letting him shoot at will. And you know what? Nevada, 3 of the better Mountain West perimeter defenders. I think once again they can give Isaiah Stevens trouble shooting the basketball. Bottom line here, 7.5 points is too many in a game that has all the makings of a one-possession affair down the stretch. I'm surprised by all the money that's come for Colorado State. I think Nevada, a live dog in this one. Give me the Wolfpack plus the points. Watch and win FS1 tonight. There's your big game breakdown, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Outstanding stuff. Dan, do we have Dave Sharapan?
That's it.
Yes, we do.
Lawrence,
Okay, well,
you don't say outstanding stuff when you weren't listening. We all know you weren't listening right there.
Yeah, that's my go-to
That's your line when you don't listen.
Yeah, it's my go-to
You just
line.
go to it when you have it.
I was dealing with where is Dave Sharapan? Okay?
He's here.
Things happen. You know what, Teddy? Let's start it again. Teddy, piece of shit, big game breakdown. Hated every moment of it. Yeah. Okay, so before we bring on Dave Sharapan, I want to shout out Carmine Bianco, one of the best dudes around, an incredible handicapper. He's got a 5% play in NHL tonight. He is 28-11 since November 22 in these plays. So check that out over at WagerTalk.com. I also have a Moneyline NHL bet tonight that you can't miss. I told you yesterday I had a Moneyline NHL bet and it won. I'm now 27-12 on the season in these plays. So check that out. Dave Sharapan, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the show.
That was an outstanding breakdown. Thank you very much. That was excellent. Yes. Whoa. Whatever you
done
said,
now?
Chris. No. I got Teddy caught you not listening. You caught me not listening. You were talking and I wasn't listening. Sorry.
I'm not listening now either. So bugger you, Dave.
Bugger off.
Is that a
Give me-
Harlem Globetrotters hat?
Harlem Globetrotters hat.
I want to
and
say
shirt.
something about them.
I went to
Were
see
you,
them last night. Took the
were-
kids. Went down to the
was it fun?
Dollar Loan Center. It was great.
I was going to say, Dave, I've gone to them twice. I took my kids both times. I highly recommend, if the Harlem Globetrotters are in your area, to take your children and see them. It is an awesome night. And splurge. Get them in that front row. They'll be involved in the entire event. It's an exceptional show. But Dave, in all seriousness,
Yes.
don't you think I should be the announcer for the Harlem Globetrotters? I always thought I would be so good at that.
Let me think about that for a second.
So that's a no. Teddy, get some info out of
Yeah,
it.
say
I don't
no.
think you're going to make the cut. I'm going to bet the no minus about 2,500. There you go.
Yeah. Look, they already kicked Prez off the screen. They know how this is going to go right here. Dave, let's you and I talk with some actionable information. I've been talking a little baseball on today's show. I want to start with you talking MLB. Anything you're hearing around Vegas in terms of the hot teams, season win totals getting bet over, the cold teams, season win bets going under? Who do the wise guys pounding early? Who are they not so interested in? Give me some of what you're hearing, because, Dave, there aren't many guys with their ear to the grinds, their nose to the grindstone, and ear to the ground better than you when it comes to knowing what's going on all around town in Vegas. Talk to me about some MLB futures. Who do the pros like? Who don't they like?
Last week, we talked a little bit about the AL Central and the Kansas City Royals being an actual viable play, season wins over, and taking a shot on them to win that division. The Tigers, again, they bet them every year, but it's not surprising, but they bet them as well. Let's do the National League Central now. Just this morning, right before I came on the show, was texting with a guy who asked me about Cincinnati because they look like the team that a lot of guys are in the know or making plays on to go over their season wins and to win the National League Central. So they're the second choice on a lot of books. You know, St. Louis has got to have a bounce back. That's what everybody, the odds makers put it up. The Cubs move with the Bellinger signing was both, I think, related to the Bellinger signing and the fact that no one else in the division got him. So you have to lower the number. I don't think that necessarily makes the Cubs the actual play. Team everybody's forgetting about in that division is Milwaukee. Nobody's betting them. So if you like Milwaukee, you're getting the best price you probably got on them in a decade to win the division, and their season wins is down. But no Burns at the top of the rotation. Change of managers. Probably not a bad fade. And the Buccos, working on plans right now to get down to Bradenton to do some stuff with the Pirates and see some people down there. So hopefully I'll get an in-person look at that. And 74.5 might be too big of an adjustment. They had a really good year last year. Signed Keller this week. They have their top of the rotation guy. I don't know if that's good or bad, but he'll give you innings. He'll keep you in games. Hopefully takes that next step, misses more bats than he doesn't. And the Pirates can be 500. That's the goal this year. Be better than 80 wins. The season win total on the books is 74.5.
Dave Sharapan with MLB thoughts as spring training is upon us and the MLB futures market heating up as we speak. Appreciate those early thoughts, and I'll continue to ask you about baseball, even though March is going to be here the next time we get to see you. Speaking of March, let's talk
Teddy,
a little.
do you have anybody talking about college baseball? I mean, this college baseball market is really interesting. A lot of the young kids are on it. A lot of people are betting it. If you don't, you should probably start paying attention to it, only because there's guys actually complaining.
Well, I'll make this easy.
What?
You find us an incredible college basketball bettor, please.
Baseball.
I mean, baseball. Yes.
Okay.
I was listening. Right. Find us an incredible college baseball bettor.
Okay.
Please. Okay. There. Now you have an action oriented task, Dave Sharapan.
So, Dave, what are you seeing in the college baseball marketplace right now that intrigues you? Because you talked about this as being a market that's, compared to the MLB betting marketplace, the college baseball betting marketplace doesn't take a whole lot to move a number. The limits are lower, et cetera, et cetera. But when the limits are lower, oftentimes that means the sport is more beatable. What are you seeing?
Correct.
Give me some nuances that you're seeing in college baseball.
Dogs. There's dogs. There's guys betting dogs that I think. So what happens a lot of times is these numbers get either inputted or copied or based on last year, and there's usually one kid, maybe two in a rotation that goes from year to year. So I got guys sending me stuff that like, hey, this team's live. They're plus 350. This team's and they're winning games outright, and other teams are being underpriced. They're like, hey. Like this weekend, there's a big college tournament at the Aviator Stadium.
I'm going.
Pitt baseball. I'm going as well. So hopefully I'll see you
Sweet.
there. Yeah. So I'll be there. But like Pitt baseball has started off really well. Northern teams playing down south are big dogs. And I mean, I got kids that I coached, didn't coach directly, but coached with other coaches that are playing at schools back east. And they're on trips and they're like, Dave, watch these games. I'm watching the games. The margin of error between the two is this, but the price is minus 450 plus 350. So I think, there's something there to be said for paying attention, knowing the numbers or knowing what they should be because they're priced incorrectly. That's all.
Teddy, just jumping in real quick. Go ahead. I
just want to shift my focus here. We've talked a little college baseball. We've talked a little MLB. Let's talk some college hoops. Obviously, as we get into late February / early March, conference tournaments just on the horizon. The last week or two of the regular season. Any advice you have for our viewers about how to manage? Because I find this particular stretch, these last 2 weeks or so of regular season play, I don't get involved with a lot of plays. Maybe a half dozen. Maybe 10 at the most. I just don't see a lot that I'm looking to bet right now. What about you, and what are you hearing and seeing in terms of late season college hoops?
Stay away from sides more often than not. Focus on totals more often than not. There's a lot to be said for these first half plays. You get guys that are consistently telling me they're playing first halves, and that's been a staple for the last few years. But they're playing the first halves to remove the end of the game nonsense, the buzzer beater nonsense, the late fouls. Listen, the officiating is getting tougher and tougher to take. The more and more people are watching it with gambling as the reason why they're watching it. Don't get that at the end of the first half. So I think that's been a lot of people that I talk to and listen to staying away from the games. They're backing off stuff, just like you said. That happens now. And the numbers are tighter than they ever are. So trying to pick 5-6 sides a day, not easy.
Dave Sharapan, Carmine plops into Slack. Globetrotters record 27,000 wins, 345 losses.
Yep.
Did you know they lost that many games?
Yeah, I don't think so. That may have been early before the show was the show, and they were actually playing games. But they won last night on a 4-point shot, 113-109. They did not cover. They were 11.5-point favorites yesterday. The Washington Generals only had 7 guys on the bench and 1 girl. So they only had 8 people on the bench. It looked like they were going to be huge favorites in cover, but they did not.
But
was there a real line on that game?
No, but I saw Kenny White there, and we were joking. We should have taken a picture.
Number?
Sure. We were like, hey, what do you make the number? And, his daughters were there, my daughters were there. So we didn't want to give it away and say, well, it's probably really small, but Globetrotters money line is it. So we had fun with it. We said double digits would be the number. The opener.
0.987 win percentage. Globetrotter money line. Best piece of information we could give out on this show. Dave, what do you like in NBA and NHL?
It's interesting. The NBA, OKC's playing Houston. Houston's terrible on the road. OKC is, I think, second best team in the West. I don't know if a lot of people would agree with that, but I really like OKC. Houston's just that they're probably not going to cover. It's a gigantic number, but I like OKC. How could Chicago be laying that many points to Detroit? I don't care that Detroit played last night. They played competitive last night. Chicago Bulls laying double digits. Come on, can't be. And then Portland in a classic home dog situation against Miami. Miami with those guys suspended wins outright yesterday in Sacramento. Back to back, they go to Portland. They're laying a big number. Portland's going to be a play for better or for worse. Just be cautious with that one. Prez, the only one in Toronto and Vegas tonight. I couldn't wait to hear your take on this. Hopefully, you're going to address this one.
I'll give it to you now.
Give it to me, please.
So it's not part of my presidential address because, I've been betting the Leafs over for a while now. I've actually released it to my clients the last 3 games. All 3 went over. And I said to my clients, I plan on betting the Leafs over until it stops going over. I'm not betting the over tonight, Dave. The bottom line here is this is a terrible spot for Toronto. I mean, they just came back off of a huge West Coast road trip. They beat Vegas. They beat Colorado. Now they have their first game at home, which is never a good spot to bet a team. The fans are going to be going mad. They're on a 7-game win streak. Everything is set up for a celebration at the barn tonight. It's just a terrible spot for the Leafs. If they're going to have a letdown, it's going to be tonight. The only problem is this Vegas team is lacking firepower everywhere. This Vegas team's first line is Winnipeg Jets' third line.
It's a mess.
Yeah, and Vegas has to play to the under. If I were to bet this game, I would take under the total in this game. I just don't want to do it because Toronto can put up 7 themselves. But the right bet is the under.
Game under, Toronto team total over. You've been jaded by
3.5
years of abuse
3.5 for
with being a late Maple Leafs fan and being beaten down and can't even enjoy the good times. That game against Colorado over the weekend was outstanding.
Yeah,
This is a really good hockey team. I'm not going to lie. I was over the weekend shopping Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup prices just to see
plus
what they were.
1,200.
15 in town. 15
Wow.
to 1 in town.
Well,
Well, they don't believe it either, Prez.
Carmine bought me a $100 Leafs will win the Stanley Cup ticket for my birthday present. He hasn't given it to me yet, but I have $100 on the Leafs to
They'll
win.
get it after they lose.
Yeah. Well, he buys it
Insane.
for me every year, Teddy. So technically my birthday presents are in the red right now, but that's okay. At some point,
My one
the
total NHL total for you, Prez, is Tampa and the Flyers over. You like that one? I like that over.
Not really. No,
Okay.
I'm indifferent.
We'll agree to
I'm
disagree.
indifferent. Dave Sharapan, what do you got to promote?
Thanks,
Let's
boys.
call this a show.
Bostonian versus the book, Monday through Friday. We start at 11:15-ish Eastern or Pacific, 2:15 Eastern every day. Sports Grid at Sirius XM Radio. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific, PM, 8 o'clock Eastern, PM. That's on 159 on Sirius and on regular Sports Grid TV. And then cash considerations, we're on a streak where Dan Alexander at Newbie Talks and myself and Tony Yanizzi are doing a show every day, which is available wherever you get podcasts, not available yet on YouTube. And baseball, stay tuned. Live shows 21st and 22nd of March at Resorts World. Open invitation for all of you to come. If you come, Prez, you'll get all the drink tickets and you can even smoke in the room. I think you can smoke in the room. I don't know if you can smoke.
Firstly, I don't
Hang on.
drink. Secondly, I will not be there, but I definitely appreciate the invite. I've just organized my trips. If you'd like to know my trips for the next little while, brother, here it is. March 25th to the 30th, I'm in Whistler. April 10th to the 15th, I'm playing a WSOP circuit event in Montreal. May 15th to 18th, I'm in Vegas to see the Dead. May 6th and 7th, I'm in Vegas. June 6th and 7th in Vegas to see the Dead. June 14th to June 21st, I'm in Vegas to play the World Series of Poker. And July 10th to 14th, I'm in Vegas to see the Dead. I'm also hoping to go to Park City next week, but I'm still waiting on word. I cannot make it to see you in March.
Times?
No, I'm going to see the Dead 7 times. Dave Sharapan, everyone! Guys, it's time for your daily presidential address. Okay, let's get to it. Before we get into my games, and I got a couple of NHL bets to give out, I want to make mention that my NHL money line bets have been incredible all year. I won last night. I'm on a 3-0 run. I'm 27-12 on the season in these bets. That's 69% win rate. And I haven't slumped. I haven't roller coastered at all. It's been constant winning with these NHL money line bets. I have one up tonight for my clients. And it also comes with an NHL total. I very rarely have 2 NHL bets on the same day. Head over to WagerTalk. Take advantage of that. As well, Gold Sheet is free today. Gold Sheet Lite, it's free today at the Gold Sheet. Download it. Check it out. It is an exceptional product. We've put a lot of hard work into it. It is totally free for everyone. Okay, 2 bets tonight, 1 total, 1 side. We're going with Carolina and Minnesota under the total of 6. Really like this play. As well, Nashville minus 140 is my side to give out. I will be going into analysis on those 2 games, plus an extra one on the penalty box segment, which should be up in a few hours. Teddy, outstanding show, super fun. Glad I missed your big game breakdown because I was talking to Dan. I love you. Take us home.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, right here on Wager Talk Today. Enjoy the games, and best of luck.